Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager, episode 42. Short turnaround with back-to-back weeks racing as we're going to head to Suzuka next. But we do have a research project complete, our first one of the year for next season, obviously. And it is suspension, so we'll take a look at what else there is going into the future season. So next up is a front wing research, as we're trying to hit up primarily the areas that are seeing that changeover for next season. And what I found myself into was coming up on the end of the year for this project. So if the project's going to take to the end of the year anyway, we might as well push the project to another level, make it bigger, make it better, make it more impactful, as it's the last one for the year, and tie it into the end of the year. And as you can see, we're actually falling into 25th of December. It's only going to take 2 engineers to get it before New Year's, and so we'll go ahead and do that. That'll save 1 engineer for the next project, and that'll help us kind of tie things into the end of the coming year. Just over $1 million on the cost. It does drive the cost up by pushing a little more out of it, but you can see we are gaining a little bit on top speed, just barely, but cornering, front wing is mostly about cornering, so you can see the kind of push that it's going to give us there. High speed getting back up over 5 Gs with that upgrade. Last year, Suzuka was one of our better races, but definitely not one of our best races. Albin finished 13th, Porsche 16th, each of them a lap down. And while we're expecting some rain on Saturday, which could impact qualifying, the race itself on Sunday is looking to be dry. Definitely a couple lengthy straight sectors here, but a lot of fast flowing corners, which is obviously great for us, and really just a few slow corners. This could be one of our better tracks on the year, making us more competitive without any crazy strategy stuff happening like last race. I could see us finishing maybe best of the rest, somewhere around P7 to P.
Great you are from the Suzuka circuit in Japan. This unique track is a favourite home for motorsports, and it welcomes us back this weekend. Get ready for exhilaration and speed with the Japanese Grand Prix. Drivers will battle it out this weekend on the snaking turns of Suzuka, the only figure-of-8 track in Formula One. High-speed downforce will be the name of the game here, if teams want to secure a place on that podium. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
So we're on to Q1, and I'm taking a bit of a chance here. I'm saving my tires. We're only making a single run. No banker laps this time. We are waiting right up until the end to go. Bottas didn't even get through the first turn on his outlap, though. So that's going to impact him. But let's go ahead and get out there with Porsche. Oof, Magnussen barely crossed the line in time. Glad we didn't wait to go after him. As there's your checkered flag. And we're about to get the laps finishing up. Guan Yu Zhou up to 6th. That's a good time. That was a good time for him. Vettel P11. Sainz crosses the line, does not improve. Gasly, Norris, Perez all coming across next. And we've got a ways to go yet, as we are 1 exiting Spoon and 1 approaching Spoon. Say Vettel, Norris, looks like Ricardo are all going to be pretty beatable. Guan Yu Zhou, Ocon, and Porsche coming around the final corner now. Down the straight. Puts in, yes, a good time. It's ahead of the Alpines. It is best of the rest where I thought we would be. And meanwhile, Albin goes 1 better. Well, technically same, but ahead of Porsche. So we slot in best of rest, as I thought we might be doing for this race weekend. Leclerc is going to be carrying a penalty for this race, which means there's a decent chance with the type of pace that we have that we could be on for a P6, P7 under normal race circumstances. Verstappen comes right out in front of us and blocks us. Hamilton, I think, was a clean pass. Don't have to worry about that one, but you can see Pourchaire nearly a second off the pace of Elman, so he was clearly held up.
Raining, just watch
and
out.
Here comes some rain. Here comes some rain. We knew it was expected. I'm glad we went for the Baker lap this time. I forgot to check the Q1. And I suppose lucked out that things stayed dry. But we get our lap in, hopefully in time here. Pourchaire in trouble a little bit, but Albon very much is going to be safe. And as the next wave of drivers come in, I think we're done for the session. It's looking like P4, P7 is safe and secure. Others are going to be on intermediates. Rain looks like likely to continue. Looks like it's going to stop raining right at the end of the session, but much too late. Everybody's out on the intermediates. I'm not going out again. No point. We've already got a lap time in the dry, even if Pourchaire's was bad. Nobody's going to match it.
Run wide.
Looks like everybody's going to be competing for P9, though. That's out there. Alonso grabs it for the moment, but 5.5 seconds down. Vettel just behind him. Vettel almost certainly going to go out with at least a Ferrari in that bottom group. Likely to get one of those 2 spots. Ricardo is out here in Q2. No surprise, McLaren's, I think, barely made it into Q3 anyway. Tsunoda is going to be out, and Leclerc does go top by over a second compared to the other guys. So Gasly and Ocon competing to beat Alonso, and Gasly does it. And Ocon then knocks out Gasly, so Gasly out in Q2. Disappointing for the Alpines on that one. It would have been nice if Alonso would have held on, as it's clear that the Alfa Romeos don't have the pace here. Fast sweeping corners. That's our territory, where Alpine is the middle ground, and Alfa Romeo is the low-speed corners. So I actually have 3 sets of fresh tires remaining following Q2, because we only made 1 run in each session and did so on the same set of tires.
Copy.
The rain stopped. Track is dry. Looks like it may stay dry for Q3, so we're out getting that banker lap in right away, but we'll see if it's dry for a second run. Guan Yu Zhou, Hamilton out with us. Sainz and Ocon and Leclerc, as well as Perez and Russell heading out right now. Verstappen coming out a little bit late. And he's the last one. We'll see if Verstappen gets in our way. I feel like we might be in Hamilton's way just a little bit with Pourchaire. As we make our way under the tunnel, we definitely haven't caught Verstappen yet, but it's looking... Russell's well out of the way, but Verstappen, final chicane, I think we're okay. We're in the clear. Just barely. So that's a clean lap. Albon ahead of Pourchaire, ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, but well off the pace of Hamilton. And we ride on board with Pourchaire as he makes his final run here in Q3. There's still almost 30 seconds left, but everybody is making their run right now. We're the last 2 out as it is. Fresh tires. A number of cars managed to, get on some fresh tires, so that's good for them. Zhou very much did not, so he's already locked in P10. Ocon does not move ahead of us, so we are safe. We could actually dive into the pits if we wanted and save these tires just a little bit, but we'll see what we can do. I don't think we're going up, especially when Albon was slow in Sector 1, and he's got the better chance of making that happen. Love that we've got this dark, overcast sky here. Albon Does not improve. He stays P7. Pourchaire's got a real chance to beat Albon here, though. But he does not. He improved his time, closed in on Albon, but could not overtake him. You can see we're more than a 10th ahead of Ocon, and I think that could be significant in the race. It feels like we may have a legitimate shot at driving away from the competitors behind us and kind of getting in no man's land. We're 3/10 off of Russell, and that feels like keeping up with him is going to be a struggle, but maybe, just maybe, there's a good chance that we're going to have a two-car race with the two of us behind the front runners, but ahead of the midfield.
The time has come to fight it out. It's race day.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. We saw a solid qualifying performance from Ferrari, and they're sure to have their chance to push even further during the race. And the sky is looking grey and cloudy today. An effective tyre strategy could prove very valuable as the race plays out.
The Suzuka circuit is primed and ready to see Formula One's finest battle it out.
Going for a very different strategy this time with a soft, medium, soft on more of an attack. Does look like the two-stopper is the better way to go here. For one, you're not losing quite as much time on pit road as you do to a number of other tracks. And two, the compounds just aren't going to last. They're going to fall off the cliff. And so even with a two-stopper, we're not looking great. We have a fresh set of softs for each driver. We have a fresh set of mediums for each driver. But we do have slightly used softs for the last run. But, you know, we're talking about a single qualifying run. So we're okay there. But because we're going to go aggressive, I'm adding fuel. 53 lap race, we are going to make that a 54 lap valuation of fuel, which is going to allow us to drive a bit harder for a bit longer to make sure that we get ahead of that trailing group. First off, break that toe behind us. But then once we get into that clean air, run smooth, open that gap a little bit, and allow us, when we need to, after pit stops, allow us to push and make some overtakes, as that may be a necessity, as there's bound to be at least one or two cars, maybe three or four, that try to go for the one-stop strategy, which is going to be difficult, but it means it's going to be on us to make those overtakes happen. The extra fuel will help with that.
A somewhat overcast day for the drivers who've now taken position on the grid. Here we have Alexander Albon. They might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. And looking at the second Williams car, they're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. Everything's been building to this. The drivers are warmed up, they're ready to go here at the Japanese Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
As we get the Grand Prix underway here, and Pourchaire losing to Ocon right off the line already, but can he get back in position? He did not get off the line very well at all, losing that one, but he's got a good chance to get back ahead of him. Well, anyway, as we're approaching the end of the season here, big question for you. What do you think I should do about the second driver position? Pourchaire in car number 1. I have every intention of continuing to see Pourchaire grow as a driver, develop as a driver. We've already spent a year and a half getting him to develop, and he's just now getting to the pace that we want him to be. Now we're gonna have to, work on other things like consistency, but he's got great potential, and he's far from being at the top of his game. And there we go, Pourchaire getting to the inside, and is gonna get back around to Ocon as we go around Spoon here. Beautiful. That's what I needed from him. Now I need him to push on a little bit longer, not with the overtake. But meanwhile, Albin is
And a
putting
new
the Ferraris
position,
under pressure.
just gained by Williams.
And Albin just went around Russell. As we looked on ahead, Albin just completed an overtake on Russell. Let's see how we do
And there's
down
an
the straight.
overtake from Williams.
Turn 1, but yeah, that's good. All right, let's go neutral. We're not making a pass here.
Increase, lift and coast.
Yes. Go standard from here. So Albin settling in
to drop back.
now in P5. Russell very well could get back around him as he's got better pace, but this is good. This will give us some DRS options for a while yet. Sainz really struggling with his control at the moment. A very consistent drive for him. See Pourchaire gets that weave a little bit back and forth as well. But as we have closed up now on Russell, we don't need to try to get past him. What we needed to do is get around
increase, please.
Ocon, and we want to see that gap open behind us. So we might actually go back and push for a little while longer.
Reduce the
Wow,
lift
the
and
moment
co-
we stopped, that gap went out almost 3/10 in 2 corners. And Ocon closed right up on us, and that's not what we want. We want Ocon falling away. We want a brake toe on Ocon while keeping
Firm on
Alright,
DRS.
so DRS is enabled. Russell's having a look on Albin. He's just about up beside him, but he tucks back in. And Pourchaire closing back up on these guys, but only just. We have to kind of keep pushing for the time being. We'll see where we wind up after a couple laps of this. Pourchaire struggling just to keep up with his teammates' pace at the moment. Albin now more than a second behind Sainz makes us a sitting duck for Russell, but getting Russell out of that train is good for us too, because once Russell does get past us, keeping up with Russell becomes that much easier because he won't have DRS to pull him along, meaning our pace. Trying to keep up with a Mercedes is difficult. Keeping up with a Mercedes who has DRS is much more difficult. And so Russell does get by, but Albin hopefully can keep up with Russell now, as we will get DRS.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes.
Sure who.
Sounds like a spin.
It's Perez with a spin. Perez drops to P10. We did not see him.
Let's see what happened there. So let's look at this.
Off
There's
the track
Sergio
there.
Perez.
He's definitely not on the track.
What a spin out.
Ooh. Looks like he did make some contact with the wall. By the way, we do have a chance of rain today. I think it was from P2 where that happened. Sainz has lost the gap, and Albin has actually closed up now on Hamilton. So Pourchaire still struggling to keep up with these guys, but that's very much our goal, very much our objective. Ocon, at the moment, falling back a bit. Can we get him out of DRS? That would be huge if we could. 9/10. Over a second. It's over a second to Ocon. Let's go ahead and watch with Ocon for a little bit. For now, he's back within. But that gap closed really fast. He did not get DRS. That's why it closed really fast. It was that Guan Yu Zhou got DRS and passed Ocon when Ocon did not. Let's see if we can get out of the range of Zhou now. That actually should be easier than getting out of range of these guys, as it's up to a second or almost. There you go, beyond a second. Yeah, if we can leave that trio behind, which Tsunoda has lost them, it's actually not. It was Vettel before. Tsunoda passed him, but that gap's getting bigger it's Perez and Leclerc that are tucked in back there, and it's of course Perez's spin. But that is, there you go, no DRS, 1.7 behind, and growing. And somehow we we are in with the big three right now, keeping up. In Pourchaire's case, it's a lot of push. It's a lot of effort to make that happen, but we've managed to do so. Let's continue to drive aggressive, even if that means we've got to pit a lap or two sooner compared to Albon. That's okay. We have the expected pit window. In his case, we can't double stack right now. They're too close together for it anyway, so they're going to have to offset by at least a lap. In Pourchaire's case, this has value in making this effort, as Zhou is passed by Ocon. And again, it sets it to the guy who was behind because there's no DRS. We get the DRS, they don't get the DRS, so the guy that was behind might have been close, but now he's 1.9 back. Pourchaire runs wide, turn 3. Didn't see it. We get two wheels on the curbing for turn 4 there on the apex. All we did was kind of cut the corner a little bit. No loss. 3 seconds now to Guan Yu Zhou. Gap is opening quick. Albon has closed back down, so go back to balanced.
Just do lift and coast.
That's going to be such a benefit for this race. How we've managed to keep up with the quicker cars. The penalty for Leclerc plus the mistake from Perez definitely has us in an even stronger position here. Sainz heads into the pits. They are pitting early. Pitting really early. Lap 15. Tire wear is at 48 for Pourchaire, which is similar to some of the cars around it. But Albon's still looking good at 55. Zhou, Ocon, both into the pits. It's going to open an even bigger gap behind us. Leclerc, Ricciardo, Schumacher all into the pits. But I feel like he can maybe make it to that next lap, and that Albon could stretch. Especially as we're getting the benefit of DRS. Verstappen and Russell both into the pits. Albon is going to take over the race lead. No, you are not pitting. .133.8, faster than Perez.
I think you can reduce lift and coast.
Almost there with Sainz.
Okay.
Ocon and Zhou on their fresh tires though are a little bit quicker. .6, and we hold up. And Pourchaire comes back out behind both Hamilton and Russell, and look how big that gap ended up getting. Look how big that gap was. That's not nice. Not nice at all. Mediums for Verstappen, for Hamilton, for Russell, Gasly, Perez, Tsunoda. So we're seeing the soft, medium, soft play out now, kind of at the same time here. What will 2 laps look like? Well, we're already seeing that Hamilton and Russell have gained half a second on him. Half a second's not bad. Fresher tires make a bigger difference later on, as long as you don't lose too much. But what we are losing, theoretically, is that train. Porsche. To have the open pit road, As, you know, Porsche lost about a second waiting for Hamilton, maybe 2. And we're back out on the mediums. 2.499. Those pit stops are getting faster and faster. 7 seconds behind the race leader. We are just over a second behind Hamilton, but barely over a second. So there's a chance that we could close this up still. That's less than a second. We should have a flap open here. And there it is. 95%. Meanwhile, Porsche, though, already down at 89. Gotta watch out. Sainz is going to be pitting early. He's gone around Verstappen, but that's a strategy call. He's gone soft, medium. He might actually be a second behind. It's just within a second. He does not get DRS, though. So he does not get DRS. Albon just set the fastest lap in the race. Alright, Porsche has made it. 6.5 second gap. Ocon, Zhou trading places a little bit. Or did they? I thought it was Zhou a little bit ago. Leclerc is up on him. He's going to look to get past Perez. Is only P11. Those two struggling to move up the grid a little bit. Field's close. Porsche struggling a little bit more on keeping up. He's using a lot of the bonuses that we gave. The fuel, the tire wear. He's using that up. So he's not going to have some sort of advantage later on. I think his race is going to be more about keeping up with these guys and driving away from those behind us. Porsche was not more than a second yet. He was at 9/10. I pushed on. He didn't get DRS. He fell back.
Look at that! They run wide!
Okay, he ran wide. Porsche ran wide. That was the mistake. Cost him some time. That was just after I told him to push. But can he get back up here? So now for the second time, his race hangs in the balance. Perez making his way past Ocon. Is he going to have better pace than us and close it down? He's already inside 10 seconds, but he had DRS advantage on that one as he made that pass. And Perez, after going clear, just set the fastest lap of the race. He's on mediums. Much fresher than Porsche, by the way. Sainz into the pits. First of the soft runners makes his final stop of the day. And with Porsche getting Porsche another mistake, runs wide again in turn 3. If he can, but Porsche, his pace is about to fall off. Porsche is now 3 seconds behind. Albon himself is having to push just to keep up. He has caught back up as we did push for a little bit there. I think Perez is going to be catching Porsche before too long. Sainz, after his pit, has actually come out just behind us, so the field is finally starting to open up a little bit. That first pit stop really hadn't happened. You're looking at just 40 seconds to the back of the grid, with 30 seconds, 29 seconds to here, and we were, what, 22, 23 second loss in the pits? Ocon heads in. Porsche, though, not quite in that happy zone. But with a lot of those guys pitting and getting out of the way, it won't be too bad. But is Porsche putting himself in a position where he's going to end up having to not go to the softs, but go to a second set of mediums to get to the end of the race? Could happen. Hamilton dives into the pits, so Albon is now following Russell. Hamilton had actually just passed Russell right before he entered, so it looks like he was pushing on his in-lap. But we remain just 7.5 seconds behind Verstappen. Verstappen has not been driving the way. The Mercedes are just about keeping up with him.
Gasly has pitted for new option.
Porsche's fuel situation a little bit better. He's going to have the ability to push somewhat at some stage. We'll save that fuel for a good moment. Oh, big lock up from Porsche. Puts it in the wall. Pitting this lap. Pitting this lap. That drops him to P6 before getting to the pits. He does not have seemingly really bad damage here. I mean, he looks to be okay. A handful of laps ago. Russell into the pits. Albon, time to push.
And we think you can reduce lift and coast.
We want to make up
Yes.
whatever ground they're going to gain out on track. And then we'll have those fresher softs till the end of the race. But here's Porsche. Not only does he lose time for smacking the wall, but he's going to lose that extra time to replace the front wing. So this is going to put us back even farther. There's the pit stop part, but now it's front wing change, front wing change, front wing change. 7.7, that's 5 additional seconds that Porsche has lost. Plus, you know, the rest of that in-lap. It's going to be costly. P9. We're still in the points. Leclerc goes by. Ocon is ahead of us. Hamilton, Russell, Perez, Verstappen, all already used. Sainz is on the mediums that are going to go to the end. Ocon and Leclerc on the mediums going to the end. So last car in the field to pit is going to be Albon. Everybody has pit twice except him. So his advantage here is pushing, extending pressure tires at the end of the race. He's still at 50%. We just can't get crazy slow as Verstappen goes around Sainz. They're both running 135s. 9 tenths, 8 tenths quicker. Hamilton even faster right now in 130.2. 9 and Porsche, there's your real reference, 130.6. 130.6. So we are 8 tenths of a lap slower right now. Of course, are also going to be coming out on 90%
Yes, the K-box.
used softs. We don't have the fresh set. That's another reason to extend that little bit further. Now, Verstappen and Sainz are already close to us. We know we're going to be well ahead of Porsche. Last stop of the day, Albon, 2.584. Not a great stop compared to lately. Meanwhile, with Porsche, he sits P9, 3.9 behind Ocon, so we have closed down on Ocon a bit. We still might have a race there as we inch closer. So he may be able to get back up to P8. Gasly will keep it at bay, 3.7 behind. Albon, I think we're going to hold off Leclerc and Perez just fine. At the beginning of the day, early in the race, P5 sounded really good to me. We're out on our own though, so what's that going to look like? Well, we are gaining. Engine turned up is enough that we are closing that gap down a little bit as Sainz passes Verstappen, but Verstappen gets the fastest lap at the same time. Not sure how that one just happened. It's just they swapped positions. I don't think he took over the fastest lap. I think he already had it previously. That makes more sense. I think there's a portion of the track where we can afford to be more aggressive, and a portion of the track that we're going to have to stay standard, and that's going to be our best shot at catching up to these guys. We are faster in certain parts of the track than we are other parts. So if we two parts really on track. Multiple cars have crashed. Is this going to bunch the field up? That would definitely be good for us and the fresher tires that we have. Red flag. This is the first I've ever seen a red flag in this game. Red flag. The race is being stopped. Holy cow. Okay, this is a huge one.
Red flag. Red flag.
Everybody's going to have fresh softs, so our
this.
advantage that we
Here's
have
Alonso's
is gone.
car.
Alonso turns right back on the track,
and it's
wipes out
who was in the wrong there.
McLaren and the AlphaTauris, and it is very clear who was in the wrong. It's Alonso.
Will they be able to
It is
recover?
Alonso,
We'll
but
see.
it's guaranteed he's not going to be the one with the penalty. This is definitely not good for us. We had a better chance of catching and passing the Mercedes than anybody behind us catching, but now with everybody on fresh softs, yes, Porsche can challenge Ocon, but more importantly, Perez and Leclerc are going to be breathing down Albon's neck.
A sense of deja vu here as the drivers once again face
There we
the
go.
countdown.
From the grid, I did not get a choice on whether we can
And
push
it's
or not.
lights out, and away we go.
There you go. Race back underway. Verstappen leading from Sainz, the two Mercedes, then Albon. Porsche already losing a position for the second time. And that is Albon struggling with Perez in the faster car. Better acceleration. Can we get back ahead of him? Oh, this is a really costly red flag. Albon might just about do this. That is the portion of the track that we are better on, but we have not yet finished the job. We will get the inside on the hairpin.
And there's an overtake from Williams.
Porsche sits in P10. So he's actually going backwards, and it's the two Alpines ahead of him. And Albon still has not overtaken Perez, but does finally do so as we approach speed. 4 laps to go. You can definitely fuel up the whole way here. Recovered P5 after initially losing it. We've recovered P9 after initially losing it. So we're back to where we started with the field bunched up. What does everybody else around us have? Fresh softs. Fresh softs. No, they're not attacking them, so everybody's on the softs. So going full attack is not necessarily a good thing, as it's going to wear those tires out really quick.
To drop back.
So we're going to drop too aggressive for a little bit. And Porsche.
Is overtake. Is overtake.
Let's see if we can get a run here. For Spoon. And we are up beside Ocon and past him. Nice work there.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Now, the unfortunate thing for Porsche is we're dropping back from Leclerc. This is lap 2, I believe, so we should have DRS coming shortly. Porsche is out of DRS range at the moment, which could be a problem. Try to hold off Ocon in the final laps here. Looking for a good opportunity to go forward. Not the easiest thing, as that's all the big 6 right around us. We just happen to actually be in the middle of it. Porsche, right where we expected to be today, P8. after his mistake. That's not bad. Holding off Ocon and Gasly will not be easy here in the final laps for Pourchaire. He's got to really push on to try to keep them behind him. Somebody just spun in Sector 2 at Spoon. It's a McLaren. Save the overtake for after Spoon. Yellow flag, Sector 1, 2, kind of right in between, or is it 2?
Okay, there's a
big crash. It's probably going to end the race.
There's been a crash. Sounds like a
Magnussen.
single car. Here's the replay.
Single car might not
Now
end
just
the race.
focus on the Haas.
This is where Porsche made his mistake, I think. It is. Same
Oh,
problem,
a nasty
same
crash
issue.
there.
Seen that one before. We'll be fine to move on. And he is. Yellow flag's already cleared. Okay, Porsche is closing up on Leclerc. We are less than a second behind. Use the overtake just a little bit to try to close that gap. This will help us secure
Overtake is available.
the position. If we can get within a second, slow through there. I don't think we got the
This will be the last lap coming up.
Neutral. So it is Verstappen who is pulled away a little bit from Sainz. Hamilton very close to Sainz. He's got a chance to challenge here. Stays the same in the top 10. Verstappen with the win. Sainz P2 and Hamilton rounds out
nice
the
job.
podium. We get P5,
Going
P8 in this one, which is pretty good.
Okay,
Pretty
checkered
good.
flag.
That was my first red flag. What is it? Two races to go now?
Result here for the Williams
By the way,
driver.
I think I started with tell me what I should do about the driver. Then I think we got distracted and never came back to it. Maybe I did, but I don't remember coming back to it.
Williams have got to be
Do we
happy
want an
with their
A?
results
Hang on
here.
to Albon.
This was good work.
B,
I couldn't agree
upgrade
more.
to
It just shows what this team can
Ocon, I
do
think is the
with
most
all the
viable
pistons
option for
firing.
us. We'll see
And
if
after
there
this
is a better
result,
one,
the
but it
team
would be
is
a
fourth
young,
in the
better
constructor standings.
driver. Lando
Coming up
Norris,
next,
George
we'll be crossing
Russell.
the pond all the way to
I
Texas.
think those are the ones
for the
that
twists and
might
turns
be
of the United
available
States Grand
as we are
Prix.
sitting fourth. We might have better options that are willing to sign for us. The finances would be a factor, and the willingness of the driver, and are they actually better? Which there's definitely better options, like I said. As for young drivers that may, Russell probably wouldn't be interested. Leclerc probably wouldn't be interested, but those are both candidates. And then Ocon and Gasly, and I think Ocon's the best young driver that's available out there, so he was the one we were looking at. But do we take Ocon or whatever other young option, or Albon, or do we go for Jack Doohan, which is going to come with an initial setback of not being quite as good, but with the potential could easily overtake Albon probably by the end of his first season with us. That is going to do it for this episode, though. That's round 18, so we have 19, 20, 21, 22. 4 races left. Pourchaire gains 4 points, still sits 11th, but he is closed up on Alonso and Bottas in the Alfa Romeos. Could overtake them for 9th, potentially. And Albon slips back down to 6th place, but he's got himself a little battle there with Carlos Sainz. And in that Constructors, we consolidate on our P4. Not 100 points, but we are 85, 81 points ahead. And like I said, Alpine is probably going to overtake Alfa Romeo. Well, now they're just 4 points away with 4 races to go. Haas, McLaren, AlphaTauri, 36, 32, 31. Super tight, but none scoring points. And the Aston Martins have yet to score a point in this series. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.